Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10, and starting from now you also get entered into the Ravnica Allegiance booster box giveaway, which runs until January 28th. Alright, pack one, pick one, Italy is not bad. What else is in the pack that we might wheel? Like Reckless Rage is a pretty strong removal spell, plays well with the whole Enrage sub-theme. If we end up in some sort of red-white dinosaur deck, we could hope to wheel a Suncrested Pterodon, could hope to wheel a Death Spitter or Trailblazer. Those would be fine cards to wheel. Other good cards in general include Secrets of the Golden City, the Seer if you end up in like a green-white or green-white-red colored dinosaur deck could be very useful too. So there's some good cards that we can hope to wheel here, so taking Italy makes sense. And get to follow that up with probably a Bombard. Siegehorn Ceratops is difficult to make work, and even if it does work, the payoff card is that you just get a 2-mana 4/4. What else can we hope to wheel here? Maybe a Snubhorn Sentry can wheel, maybe we'll get to Shake the Foundations, which is a nice Enrage enabler, but Bombard's totally fine here. There's another Secrets. Expel from Morasca's pretty decent instant speed interaction too. Everdawn Champion is reasonable. So we could maybe move into red-white if we take the Everdawn Champion here. Firebrands is okay. It's not like amazing, but it's reasonable interaction to have early. Could also take the Exultant Sky Marcher, which is close in power level to the Everdawn Champion. Like in some matchups, the Sky Marcher is going to be pretty strong, giving you an evasive threat if there's a ground stall, whereas the Everdawn Champion doesn't really do much if it just gets blocked. But if the opponent is stuck with a bunch of small creatures, then the Everdawn Champion will make it very difficult for them to block or attack. I don't even know which one of the two is better in general. I don't mind taking the Everdawn Champion if that's what chat wants. Don't get to play with it as much as with the Sky Marcher being an uncommon and all. Alright. We're still pretty flexible here, we're not committed to red-white by any means. We would like to play red if we can, but if we open like an insane blue or black card, we can easily move into another color combination. I mean, there's a Darfleet Neckbreaker, which is a payoff card for the Black-Red Pirates deck, but of course, we're better set up to maybe move into a dinosaur type deck. Could still take it, speculate on a red-black. If we're getting a Neckbreaker 4th pick, that could be a sign that red-black is open and we might get more good red and black cards. We could cut the champion, move into red-black, and Italy still totally fine Curve Topper even in a Pirates deck, just as an honorary pirate. The Famished Paladin only really works with enough life gain from the Vampire deck, which is difficult to set up, or you can try and enchant it with a lifelink enchantment, which of course is a nice synergy with it. Mutiny's okay, but pretty replaceable. So I don't mind taking the Neckbreaker here, kind of speculate on red-black a little bit. If that ends up being open, then we can move into it. If not, then we maybe missed out on a Mutiny, but we'll probably get another one. Wow, there's a lot of good solid cards here. So we did see 2 Secrets of the Golden City so far, now we're seeing a Spirewinder. Could be a sign that blue is slightly open, but there's going to be good blue cards in most packs early, so not necessarily a sign to have to move into blue. In black, we're seeing quite a few good cards. I do like Dinosaur Hunter, just a solid 2-drop in a metagame full of dinosaurs. It's just an early relevant 2-drop that can attack and block, and then later in the game, versus the big dinosaurs, it can still trade off. Could also take a Fathomfleet Border if we want to strengthen the pirate theme with a Neckbreaker, but Hunter's also pirate, so I think I would prefer to take the Hunter over Border, just because good 2-drops are difficult to get, as opposed to 3-drops, which are usually easier to get. Could also take a Frilled Death Spitter as just a solid dinosaur 3-drop, in case we don't want to commit to the red-black theme and keep our options more open for reds, maybe red-white or red-green. There's a Pirate Spillage, which is great too, gives you a lot of card filtering late, can discard a land to find more action, and the treasures help you ramp and fix your mana. And then finally there's also the Pterodon, which is a nice dinosaur, gives you a nice 2/5 evasive body that's difficult to kill, that can keep getting in there if you have a dinosaur, gives it vigilance. So this one's definitely close. taking Dinosaur Hunter goes very well with our Neckbreaker, and it's just a good 2-drop to have. So if red-black Pirates ends up being very open, we could get rewarded by taking the Dinosaur Hunter here. If we take Pirate's Pillage, then that's kind of the quote-unquote safe pick, in that it goes well into any red deck, and the only thing we know for sure is that we're playing red. But if we end up in a nice, streamlined, aggressive pirate deck, we would prefer the Dinosaur Hunter over the Pirate's Pillage. But on the other hand, we could easily still end up in a red-white, kind of a rampy dinosaur deck, in which case both the Pterodon and the Pirate's Pillage would be nice additions to the deck, and then taking the Dinosaur Hunter, of course, would not end up making it. I think I like hedging my bets and just taking the Pirate's Pillage, which is gonna end up in our deck, just in case that we end up white instead of red-black. Like, sure, Hunter's a fine card, but like Voracious Vampire, Border, and Dark Inquiry are all cards that I expect to go pretty late, so the pack could have just had a lot of black cards in it. So I think I'm gonna lean towards a Pirate's Pillage, just in case we end up red-white. But again, very close pick. I could also see taking the Hunter or the Pterodon. But if we're gonna end up in red-white, then Pirate's Pillage is still a fine card. So I think I'll go with the Pillage here, but again, I think it's a very close pick. Alright, so this pack, we're not seeing any amazing black card, we're not seeing any amazing red card, we're not seeing any amazing white card. This is just kind of a weak pack. Just a bunch of leftovers. Best card's probably the Hornswoggle in blue, which we're not too interested in. Don't think we want the Gleaming Barrier. So we could take a Talonali's Crown for the Enrage synergies that we might pick up later. Could take a Dusk Charger anyway. It's kind of a filler card in a potential red-black deck. That's probably the pick here. I think we're more likely to end up playing a Dusk Charger than a Talonali's Crown, under most circumstances. So we'll take it. Alright, so 7th pick. And what are we seeing? Not much. A few mediocre green cards. Oraska Raptor's pretty bad. And then I guess there's a Moment of Triumph as a combat trick, in case we want to be red-white still. But even there, it's not super important, since you're usually trying to win the game with a bunch of big dinosaurs, maybe some flyers. So it's not like Moment of Triumph really fits in, unless you're the hyper-aggressive red-white dino deck, which we're not really shaping up to be. Could also take Oraska Relic for the ramp. Can always sacrifice it later to draw a card. Could take the Raptor just kind of as a filler 4-mana 3/4. Usually don't end up playing Oraska Raptor, so I think I'll take a speculative Oraska Relic in case we end up with more expensive dinos and we want to ramp. Got a Fanatical Firebranch, which I'll take here. Reasonable 1-drop to play early. Plays well with the Neckbreaker in case we do end up in red-black Pirates still. There's also Highland Lake, which could be okay if we want to splash blue, but haven't had a reason to yet. And there's nothing else really that competes, so we'll take a Firebrand. Alright, 9th pick. Did not wheel any of those red cards, wow. There were quite a few red cards in this pack, if I recall correctly, and none of them wheeled. We did wheel a Secrets of the Golden City, so this is rough. There is still a Grasping Scoundrel, which could imply that red-black aggro Pirates is still slightly open, but not wheeling any of those red cards is not a good sign. I mean, I guess we'll still take the Scoundrel here and move into red-black Pirates, but don't love our spot here. Could have picked up quite a few blue cards by now, but yeah. Alright, we'll take a Scoundrel. And nothing exciting here. Don't really want an Oraska Raptor in our aggressive red-black Pirates deck, but we also don't want another Relic or a Strider Harness, so yeah, don't love the direction we're headed. I guess we could have taken a Dinosaur Hunter instead of a Pirate's Pillage, would have been slightly better, given that we ended up in red-black Pirates. Alright, getting a Firebrand is nice, but yet another Secrets of the Golden City, so no respect for the secrets. Oh well, I think that ship has sailed by now. Could have maybe still pivoted into like blue-red Pirates, splashing black for Neckbreaker. Could have been reasonable too, but I think I like the Firebrand enough here. Don't think this pick matters too much. Alright, we wheeled the Suncrested Pterodon, so I mean, who knows, maybe the door for red-white is still open, since Pterodon is definitely a solid card. Alright, we'll need some help, since our deck is pretty poor right now. Alright, so we opened an quote-unquote on-color rare but it's not a very good one. So if you evaluate Tomb Robber, 3 mana for 1/1 Menace, so that's pretty bad. You don't want to be paying 3 mana for 1/1 Menace. And then the ability, 1 mana, discard a card. Alright, so let's say you're in the late game, you discard a land. Alright, great. What happens? You get to explore. Okay, so I explore, which means I either draw another land, so I did nothing other than get a land off the top of my deck, which, I mean, is better than nothing, but still not too exciting. Or I find a non-land card, and I get to put a +1/+1 counter on a Tomb Robber, and I get to decide whether I want to put that card in the graveyard or keep it on top. But since we're activating Tomb Robber, that probably implies that we're pretty late in the game and we're kind of desperate just for any playable card. So I don't know, Tomb Robber is just kind of bad. What are the alternatives? There's a Fathom Fleet Border, a reasonable 3-drop for the aggressive pirate deck. And that's about it. Could always take a Traveler's Amulet for fixing, Kitesail Corsair if we want to move into a blue slanted aggressive pirate deck, which could still be the case, like we could still easily pivot into blue-red pirates. But we do have to make up our minds pretty quickly since we don't have a ton of playables, and the more we are indecisive, the fewer playables we'll have. Probably just stick to black and take the border and hope that we get a few good black and red cards. There's no red card to take here, so that's not an option. Alright, we'll take a border. Not the first pick we were hoping for, that's for sure. Alright, this pack has a lot more options. Would have loved to open this pack. Starting with a rare, Silverclad Ferocitons. Reasonable Curve Topper, 7 mana, 8/5 is pretty big. And then when it's dealt damage, opponent has to sacrifice a permanent. They're probably going to sack a land at that point. But still, like 7 mana, 8/5 with upside. It gives you something to ramp into, especially if you're red-green and have access to the Knight of the Stampede, giving this a 2 mana discount. For an aggressive red-white aggro deck, Relentless Raptors. Decent, but of course we're pretty far away from that. There's an Artillery Flow, which is a decent discard spell, especially if you can combine it with vampires. Double black's a little steep in our mostly red pirate deck. What else? If we still want it to be red-white somehow, Snowborn Sentry would be okay. Then we get to some of the better cards here. Moment of Craving, excellent removal spell. Dinosaur Hunter, excellent 2-drop for our deck. And then Bombard, another excellent removal spell at 3 mana. And finally Buccaneer's Bravado, which of course also synergizes nicely in our aggressive pirate deck. Do we prefer Moment of Craving or do we prefer Bombard? 4 damage, of course, better than -2/-2, but it's 1 mana cheaper, gains 2 life, can be used as a combat trick to shrink something down. So Moment of Craving is pretty versatile, so they both have their merit. And then hope to get Bravado or Hunter on the way back. Alright, and now we can take a Bombard. There's also Swaggering Corsair, which would make our deck at this point, but can't take it over Bombard. So pretty straightforward here. Hope to wheel Corsair. Alright, we're getting some better cards now. So I think we're pretty established into red-black now. Let's take out some of the bad cards. So we don't have a ton of playables at the moment, so want to make sure we can take as many as we can. So there's a Charging Tuskodon, which is a reasonable curve topper in any aggro deck. If they can't deal with it, it deals a lot of damage by itself. So if we can kind of keep our curve low and only have a few curve toppers like the Charging Tuskodon, it can be very effective. Could also take a Bravado as an excellent combat trick in this pirate deck. Could take a Corsair as a reasonable 3-drop if we can make sure to enable raid. So there's a lot of solid options. It's definitely between those 3. Don't think we want a Vampire Revenant at the moment. Let's take a look at our curve. I have a few early 1-drop pirates, nothing at 2, nothing at 3, other than a border. So we definitely need to fill out the curve here in terms of 2 and 3 drops. So even though Tuskodon might be a little bit more powerful, I think our curve just needs help. If we don't fill out this spot of the curve, then our deck's just not going to function. So I think we'll be taking the Corsair here just because we need creatures, and then hope to get a Bravado out of this pack or the previous pack where we might wheel it. But yeah, I think we're just desperate for cheap creatures. And I think I'll go with Corsair over Tuskodon here. Not the biggest fan of the Sun-Colored Raptor. Could still take it just to fill out our curve, or we could take a Vampire Revenant as a 3-1 flyer. Can deal some damage if they don't have an answer for it. 1 toughness is pretty vulnerable, but it might be good enough. Alright, looks like we've settled on a Suncaller Raptor for now. Sixth pick, still need more 2-drops, still need more pirates in general. We've got some reasonable removal, double bombard, moment of craving's nice. Alright, so now we could take a Vampire Revenant over Arterial Flow. Flow would be okay too, double black somewhat prohibitive. Don't have any vampires at the moment, I don't think. So it's mostly just difficult to cast Mind Rot. So I think I'll go with the Revenant just because we're kind of lacking creatures at the moment. Alright, I think I'll take another Pirate's Pillage over the Raptor. Like, sure we need 2-drops, but Raptor's kind of weak and Pillage is actually a pretty decent card. Can help us ramp into Italy. Maybe we can pick up some powerful splash cards, and with double Pirate's Pillage we might be able to splash. And alright, 8th pick border, that's nice. Perfect for the deck. And what did we wheel out of the first pack? Was pretty bad for us to begin with, so not too surprising that we don't get anything good on the wheel. Like, we're playing best of 1, so we're not going to main deck Shatter. So I guess we're taking uncommon for the vault. Alright, wheel the Bravado, that's good. Uncommon for the vault. I guess we'll take a Horncrest, but I doubt we'll play it. And a Shatter just in case. Alright, so the last pack is gonna have to be kind to us. Hopefully we can pick up some Pirate's Cutlasses to equip our pirates with, since our pirates are kind of small, so they're going to get outclassed by bigger dinosaurs pretty quickly. So having some equipment to help push through damage is going to be quite useful. And then just more creatures in general. Especially 2-drops did not end up picking up any dinosaur hunters. So in hindsight, this Pirate's Pillage, the first one, could have been a dinosaur hunter, which we definitely would have preferred right now. But so be it. At the moment we could have still easily ended up in red-white. Alright, what did we open? Well, River's Rebuke's one of the better cards, but sadly not in our colors. What did we get? Deathless Ancient, not great in a non-vampire deck. I mean, 6 mana for 4 flyer is still okay, but if you can't get it back, it loses a lot on power level. There's a Sure Strike as a combat trick. There's a Desperate Castaways, which is usually better in blue-black where you have more treasures. Don't have many treasures ourselves outside of Pirate's Pillage ×2. And then there's a Brazen Buccaneers. So overall, pretty disappointing pack. Might just take the Sure Strike, just as a combat trick. Like, we're probably going to wield the Brazen Buccaneers anyway. Still nothing great for us. There's some good blue pirates. But sadly, we're kind of stuck in red-black. Could take a Skullduggery, decent 1 mana trick. Can definitely be unexpected, especially in Rivals Draft where you only open 1 pack of Ixalan. Could take a Prying Blade as an equipment, but as far as equipment goes, this is pretty bad. So probably just taking the Skullduggery. So we've got enough tricks now with Sure Strike, Buccaneers Bravado and Skullduggery. So we just want to make sure to pick up more creatures. Alright, there's some creatures here. Deadeye Tormentors are okay for the deck. Could also take a Heartstopper, I guess. Reasonable 1-drop can get Death Touch and trade for a bigger dino, but Tormentor seems good enough here. Could take another Skullduggery, or could take Headstrong Brute, or could take Interloper. Brute and Interloper are both okay. Let's take a look at our curve. I wouldn't mind more 3 mana pirates, just to lower the curve a bit. I already have a bunch of 4s, so I think I'm leaning towards a Brute. Alright, those are some decent cards. Fire Cannon Blast, definitely a nice one to pick up here. Actually, might even play a Fire Shrine Keeper if we got it, just because it helps us enable raids so easily. But definitely taking the Blast over it here. Could take a Hijack as kind of a out of nowhere win condition. Could take a Wily Goblin as just an early pirate that helps us ramp. It is a pirate, even though it doesn't look like it. And double red might be somewhat difficult on the mana, but not impossible. Castaways, when it can't attack, is not exactly what we're looking for. And a Queen's Ancient at 6 mana is a little bit expensive for what it does for us. So I guess we will take a Goblin over the Hijack. There's a chance we will Hijack out of one of the previous packs still. Alright, Deadeye Plunder, so this could be a card worth splashing for. Although it's a little bit awkward if we don't have actual blue mana to use the ability. Otherwise we could just take a Pyromancer, which is probably the pick here. 5 mana 3/2, raid dealing 2 damage. Fits in our deck nicely, and that way we don't have to mess up our mana base just to fit in a Plunders, which at the end of the day is probably not even going to be amazing. So we'll take a Pyromancer. And I don't hate the Blightkeeper here, just as an early raid enabler. And get a few evasive damages in. Don't think we need Sure Strike, already have a few combat tricks. So we'll take a Blightkeeper. I mean, we could splash a Pirate's Prize, but I doubt we'll do so. Same with Siren's Root. Like, I think we want to avoid splashing in this deck, since we're trying to curve out. And we did end up with enough playables at the end, so can't be too upset. Might even be a 16 land deck. So we'll take a Castaways. And don't think this matters. So yeah, not sure if we could have ended up in a better deck. Alright, Wield the Fireshrine Keeper, might actually play that one. And Wield the Pirate's Prize. So blue seemed relatively open the entire draft. But other than that, I don't think we got any clear signals. Let's make a maybe pile. So I don't know if we want both Blightkeeper and Fireshrine Keeper, maybe one of them. Wily Goblin, Castaways, Raptor are all maybes. But of course we're going to be pretty light on 2-drop creatures if we cut all those. I think I like the 3-drops. Revenant's probably good enough. So yeah, this is kind of the maybe pile we're looking at, and we're probably going to go with 16 lands. So we need to make 3 cuts. Fireshrine Keeper is probably the weakest 1-drop we have. So how about we start cutting the Fireshrine Keeper. Then is Castaways good enough? Like, we have only the 2 Pirate Spillages as treasure makers and don't have any other artifacts. Yeah, I think we want to keep the Blightkeeper. And then probably want some number of 2-drops. If we keep the Wily Goblin, then the Castaways gets an extra treasure enabler, I guess. Don't have any good equipment, sadly. Strider Harness is pretty bad. If we had better equipment, I would gladly play it alongside the Castaways. It feels like with 3 treasure makers, we're just not going to be able to attack with the Castaways reliably enough. And at that point, it's not super valuable. I mean, a 2-3 on defense is still okay, while we can attack them, but it's not ideal when we're interested in attacking mostly. Alright, so Castaways definitely getting cut. Alright, we'll cut the Wily over the Raptor. Alright, keep the Dust Charger. Seems okay. Alright, this will be our deck. Not exciting, but maybe we can steal some wins by out-aggroing our opponents and having a well-timed combat trick. Our mana distribution, definitely have more red than black. I think 9/7 is probably okay. Like, sure, we might not always play our Blightkeeper or Scoundrel on turn 1, but most of our cards are still red. Yeah, we'll try 9/7. If we notice some issues, we might switch it back. Alright, so this is our deck. How do we call this? Alright, we'll go with Captain Atali. Alright, let's see if Captain Atali can get us some wins. Alright, well, don't know if we can keep this opening hand on the play. No red mana. Alright. How about a 1-lander? I mean, we did get a red mana this time. It's gonna be rough though. This hand needs to draw 2 lands in a row, and then we get to play Magic. We get to play a Border, Bombard, Fire Cannon Blast, so I don't think we can afford to go to 5. Our deck just doesn't have enough firepower, no pun intended, to win on a multi-5, I think. Keep a mountain. Like, we would prefer a swamp, but I don't think we can afford to bottom land. Alright. Yeah, this is rough. up against some sort of a sun deck. So they're going to have a pretty strong late game. Getting pretty greedy here with the splashes, I guess. Alright, land is good. Let's try and apply some pressure. Alright, Highland Lake. So if we were off to an aggressive start, we could have easily out-aggroed our opponent by now. Alright, so we've got a chance here. Opponent does have a pretty full grip. And a Spirewinder's a play. Alright, so we definitely want to kill that to keep up the pressure. And do we bombard or do we Fire Cannon Blast is a question. I think we Fire Cannon Blast here. Like the blue-red deck doesn't have a ton of high toughness creatures where we would need 6 damage from Blast, I don't think. So let's blast it. Alright, so our opponent's down to 11. An extra land gives us Pyromancer, which is decent. There's a black mana. So we'll see here. Dust Charger, that's beatable. And did pick up the land, so we could attack with everyone. They trade for border, hit them for 4 down to 7, plays Pyromancer, put them to 5. Or we could just bombard the Dust Charger, hit them for 7 down to 4, and keep Pyromancer as kind of a finisher. I think we just kill it. For 1 on a blue, they could have a negate. Pump spells or tricks don't do it. So I think we just kill it. No negates. Alright, so our removal spells are kind of getting the job done here. Clearing a path for our creatures while our opponents is kind of slow out of the gates. And I think we'll keep land in hand on the off chance that we discard it to Pyre Spillage. And then there's a good chance we have lethal next turn. Alright, so on a very sketchy keep, I think we'll get there. Yeah, our opponent didn't draw the early Sailor of Means that they needed. So this should be game. Alright, well, getting a win here feels pretty lucky. Some fortunate top decks on our side hitting the land drops. And our opponent's not doing much. In the early game definitely helped. But yeah, that's one of the advantages of playing a somewhat aggressive deck, is that you get to punish stumbles from the opponent. Whereas if you're playing the dirtily 4-color treasure deck, you don't get to do the same. This seems like an okay keep. Turn on Scoundrel, Skullduggery to back it up, and then border on 3. Alright, I've got another blue Dirtle deck, perhaps. Kind of seeing the lack of 2-drops hurt us a bit here, not being able to keep up the pressure. Alright, blue-black. Let's get in there. Looks like a removal spell incoming. Reaver Ambush. And sadly, Skullduggery needs you to have an opposing creature to target, so we couldn't give it +1/+1 and let it survive, sadly. If our opponent had a creature in play, then we could have Skullduggery'd to put it out of range from the Reaver Ambush, so that's unfortunate. Moment of Craving. So we could Moment of Craving plus Skullduggery to kill the Dust Charger just to get in a little bit of damage. Could also Suicide Attack with a Scoundrel and then Pyromancer to finish off Dust Charger. I think I like aggressively using both tricks here just to get in a little bit of damage. Don't love it, opponent's probably going to be able to stabilize, but probably just need to sneak in that damage. And get in there. And Brawler's pretty good. I'll happily trade Scoundrel to kill it here. And then I think we'll play out one land, but definitely want to keep one in case of Pirate Spillage. Alright, Sworn Guardian doesn't block profitably. And there's a Pirate Spillage, that's good. So I guess we'll main phase this. Two fresh cards, perfect. Get to attack and play Corsair. Opponent takes it. Well, so far so good, I guess. Bombard can clear a reasonably sized blocker, so we can keep attacking. Alright. Yeah, let's try and kill it. Keep a land in hand for pillage. Opponent down to 2. Alright, so we've got a lot of top decks here. And our opponent scoops it up. Awesome. Well, so far so good. Our aggressive start managed to get there in the end. So 2-0, definitely above expectation here. If we can get a third win, I'll be happy. Hand looks reasonable. Firebrand into Corsair with a Bravado on top. If we draw any black cards, we're going to be sad. This hand could definitely use a Pirate Spillage, for example. Get rid of a mountain, draw some more cards. But I don't think we can send this one back. What is this? Amulet, maybe? Nothing? Alright. We'll never know. Hey, thanks for the host there, CGB. Welcome, welcome everyone. We're currently in a Rivals of Ixalan draft, and we're somehow 2-0 with a pretty mediocre pirate deck. Alright, nothing to really play around here, so let's just jam a Firebrand. And get in there. So I guess our opponent's just full controlling, could be. Alright, I see. So the one drop was a Jade Bearer, but they wanted to wait to get the extra counter. Alright, makes sense. So, Merfolk Tribal. The problem with attacking with a single Firebrand is that they probably think that we want to just trade Firebrands, both Firebrands for the Apprentice, which is not the case. But the problem if we attack with both Firebrands is that they can just block both, which would also be pretty bad for us since we then have to use a trick and can't play the Corsair, and then don't have any creature in play to enable raid on the following turn. So we'll see. I think for now the plan is just to hope they don't block so we can play Corsair anyway. And if they block there, then there's no need for us to use a trick. So I think this is acceptable. Alright. So we got our Corsair into play and didn't have to waste a trick. So now we still have Sure Strike and Bravado, which together can definitely add up to quite a bit of damage. If we can +4 and double strike one of our pirates, on our Corsair for example, that's 14 damage out of nowhere. Jade Guardian. Counter on Apprentice. So they're trying to race, that's fine. And a Pyromancer to draw. But the Apprentice is out of range unless we combine it with the Firebrand. Are we going to try and wombo combo our opponent? Like, let's say we do deal 14 damage to our opponent here with the Corsair. Then I guess Firebrand plus Pyromancer would be lethal. So that's not bad. Let's wombo combo. Blue-green's not going to have too much life gain usually. Like, I usually don't love going for the all-out plays like this. Alright, they're going to chump. Interesting. Alright, that was unexpected, but I'll take it. We'll try and wombo combo next turn. So not getting to cast anything that turns definitely painful. Would have loved to play border. Could block and use a trick, but I think we're trying to keep our tricks for now. Jungle Ball Pioneer is annoying, since now they'll have a lot of chump blockers. Alright, Swamp is a good draw. And now we have a lot of different plays we can make. Like for example, Pyromancer dealing 2 to the Apprentice and Firebrand finishing it off. Or we can just keep going face. If they don't block, we could wombo combo. If they double block, we can use a single trick and play Border or Pyromancer. They could have a River Herald's Boon here that we have to keep in mind as well. Alright, opponent goes for the double block. So Sure Strike should be good enough here to clear both blockers, even through a Boon. And I am interested in preserving our Corsair. So we won't be able to wombo combo, but we might win a fair game now that we found our black mana. And I don't know for sure if we're gonna trade Border for Apprentice if they give us a chance. We'll see. Opponent's got 3 cards in hand, 4-3 Apprentice in play. Our hand's pretty decent. Right, another Jade Bear. So out of range of Pyromancer plus Firebrand. They might go for the 2-turn lethal with River Herald's Boon here. We could of course have used Firebrand to kill Jade Bear, but didn't really want to chum block with Border anyway. Ooh, Aquatic Incursion, that's a good one. In this spot anyway. So they get 2 tokens and they can make stuff unblockable now. Yeah, that's bad for us. They have been chum blocking pretty aggressively the entire game. And that's maybe the reason why. Alright, so now what? We can proactively shoot down the Jade Bear with the Firebrand, attack with both. We won't necessarily be dead next turn. We'll take 6 down to 1. Don't have to use a Firebrand until they block, I guess. Opponent's going for the chumps. That's fine. Yeah, the reason to shoot down proactively is in case they are planning to chum block, then we get rid of a chum blocker. Yeah, maybe that was better. Still just use a Firebrand proactively. Alright, we'll see. Opponent is at 15. They've got us dead in 2 turns. If they have a pump spell, we're dead right now. I mean, do we have lethal now? I guess we got there. Double strike. Does it matter which one? I don't think so. Alright, I'll take it. Alright, how about this hand? We drew a tally for the first time, which is nice. Don't get to do anything early, but Skullduggery and Bombard as interactions, okay. No point to Skullduggery when we don't have a creature in play to target anyway. A Storm's a Bruin. So lands would be acceptable here. Oh no, walk the plank. It's so thematic too. Alright, let's play a horse. Companion. Well, Skullduggery's pretty good against it. Get to live the dream here, Skullduggery. And then play our Brute. Man, our deck's been having some savage draws. Alright, kill Dust Charger, so Walk the Plank and Impale, two very good removal spells here. Still have Bombard at instant speed, that we might play end of turn here to get rid of a blocker, and once we get to 6 mana, it's Etali time. So I don't hate bombarding a response here, that way if they have a +2 effect they can't save it. And I think getting rid of a 2/2, even though it's not impressive, is probably good enough. Could also Fire Cannon Blast, but the Brute has Menace, so it's likely to be able to attack, so we can enable the Blast. Alright, one land away from Etali. Sadly, can't go to face. Ceratops, that's a good one. But it is Etali time. Put them to 5, play Etali. Hope they don't kill Etali. Alright. They already used Walk the Plank and Impale. Do they have another one? If it's something like Divine Verdict, then at least we still get a trigger from Etali attacking. Deathless Ancient, alright, that's beatable. So we have a few options here on how to handle things. Pirate's Pillage, not a bad draw. So we could Fire Cannon Blast plus Firebrand to kill the Ancient, so we can attack with both. But then the Brute loses mana, so I guess that doesn't work. But I guess they'll be forced to block Etali anyway, because otherwise the life they gain happens after they take damage, so they would still die to Etali. So I think that's good enough. Because otherwise they could kill Etali, and that's not what we want. See what we get. 2 lands. Alright, it's too bad. So didn't hit anything with Etali, but force them to chump block. Put them to 2, that's still reasonable. And then they gain their 2 life back up to 4. And next turn we can Pirate's Pillage. I think that's a fine turn, even though we missed on Etali. Revenant. And Flow. Alright. There goes a Pillage. Opponent's still chump blocking Etali here. I guess we'll play a Scoundrel. Alright, now we hit Tormentor with Raid. Nice. Get our last card. Which is Bishop of the Bloodstained. Alright, let's see if they can recover from this. Sweet. Well, that was a pretty excellent draw. And we're somehow 4-0 with this mess of a deck. Alright, I mean, I'll take it. How about this draw? Not amazing. Scoundrel is our only creature. Dova Skullduggery to back it up. But then we're mostly hoping to draw into some action. Some 3-drops would be nice. Alright, I'll keep. We'll draw the Etali from the Pirate's Pillage. I like your optimism. Alright, another Merfolk deck. Alright, that's a good target for Skullduggery. I think we'll wait to get to 1 extra damage in. Like, we could draw into a 3-drop and then we'll regret waiting. But I think I'll wait. Alright, more Pillages. Turned into a ramp deck all of a sudden. River Darter is going to stop us in our tracks if it weren't for a Bravado. But the question is, do we want to waste a Bravado just to get rid of a Darter? I think this is probably a good turn to Pirate's Pillage, and then we can still Bravado afterwards anyway. Alright, Neckbreaker. That's good. So I think we'll wait. Neckbreaker makes it so the Scoundrel just trades for the River Darter, and if they don't block we can get a massive amount of damage in. The first sighting of the Darfleet Neckbreaker so far. Wow, that's an aggressive attack. I guess they're gonna play a blocker for the Scoundrel here, which makes sense. A Rig Hauler. Alright, fair enough. Border 2. We could aggressively use our treasures to play Neckbreaker plus Border. Could also just go Border plus Scoundrel and keep the Neckbreaker as a surprise. Keeping Neckbreaker as a surprise is probably good enough. Makes it more difficult for the opponent to plan their next turn. So we'll go... Oh, I messed up. Should have gone Scoundrel into Border. Now lost 2 life for no reason. Oh well. Keep the Swamp for the Pillage. The 2 life could definitely matter. Merfolk Mistbinder. Interesting spot, like, we could try and race, take 6 down to 10, play Neckbreaker, put them in an awkward spot. Could also double block River Darter, see what they do if they use a pump spell. We have Bravado at the ready, but the Bravado might not be enough to kill the Darter for free. I think we take 6. When we have a Neckbreaker, we kind of want to keep our pirates anyway. And we might win the race, thanks to the Neckbreaker plus Bravado. But it's close. Hope they don't have any counterspell shenanigans. Uh-oh. Alright, so they have something, maybe a bounce spell. We'll find out, I guess. If they don't block and don't have anything, they would be dead. There's like 3 different bounce spells at least that they could have here. Could be River Howl's Boon. So how does this look like if we don't go for it? Then next turn we're facing at least 8 damage. Probably have to block with our Neckbreaker, otherwise we're dead to any pump spell. So I kind of like going for it here. And does it matter which one we target? I guess we can go Scoundrel. That way if they do bounce it, we can at least replay it. Ah, negate. Alright, fair enough. Opponent's down to 6. So we'll see. Attack with everyone. And now, what do we do? If we take it and they have a pump spell, we're dead. But if we do block, what are we blocking? Probably the Rig Hauler. So that if they do boon, we at least trade. Yeah, it feels like they might have a pump spell here. I think I'll block the Hauler. And we'll find out. Crash the Ramparts. Does that kill us? It's definitely bad for us, so had we not blocked we would have been dead regardless. 4, 7, 9, so we go to 1. Alright, I'll take 1. But they have a follow-up. Alright, secrets. Alright. So we have a few top decks that win us the game here, and we've got a Pirate's Pillage to do it, and Sure Strike sure does it. Wow, what a game. Alright, Red-Black Pirates getting the job done here. We had quite a few top decks there, since we only needed 1 extra damage, so even like a Firebrand would have done it. We had another Sure Strike, we had... what else? We already used a Skullduggery. Did we have anything else? 2 Firebrands and a Sure Strike? Let's have a look. Did we have other outs? I guess a Pyromancer too, so we had 4 outs total. Alright, 5-0. Very surprised by it, since I don't think our deck was very good. Alright, how about this one? No black mana, so we're casting a turn 2 Raptor, and if we draw black mana we get to play Border, but then we're probably going to be a little bit flooded. So this one's definitely borderline. We are on the draw, so mulligans don't hurt us as badly, but we also get an extra look at a black source potentially. Alright, this is better. And a Bravado. Don't love keeping Bravado when we only have a Firebrand as our pirate. Would much rather draw into a 3-drop pirate here. Alright, Hardy Veteran. Good blocker. Alright. I guess we'll play a Raptor. Alright, they're attacking. Maybe enabling raid for Corsair. Nope, Pioneer instead. Alright, so that's a lot of blockers we have to get through. So this one's not looking good. I guess we'll attack with the Raptors, could keep it back to block and trade for a Veteran. That sounds kind of mopey. We'll attack. Don't have anything better to do with our mana anyway. Opponent's happy to make us spend our third turn pumping Raptor, but as it turns out we don't have anything better to do anyway. Alright, so not the start we were hoping for, but there's always a chance that we ramp into an Itali with the Pirate Spillage. So red-green Merfolk finds a Vineshaper Mystic, that's a great card. Alright, so we're definitely in trouble here. It's pretty much Itali or bust at this point. They've got so much power and toughness to work with. Do we trade Firebrand for a Merfolk token? I guess we'll trade. Alright, Bombard's not an Itali. Don't think we play Scoundrel. Hang on to the treasures. Scoundrel doesn't do anything for us here. Yeah, Bombard does deal with a Forerunner, if they don't have another Merfolk here. Ooh, wow. Summoner, 5, so they don't have the City's Blessing quite yet, but next turn they will, and then this is gonna wreck us pretty badly. So I think we're dead. So yeah, even if the Summoner dies, the tokens will stick around. I guess we'll bombard the Summoner. And then play Scoundrel and then try and Sure Strike to kill the Herald. And I guess we'll play the land. This of course was not going to work if they had another Merfolk, but alright, so we're down to 5 and a Firebrand to draw. Alright, so it's not looking good, but we're still in the game. Alright, Dust Charger, but if we sack the treasures we probably won't have the City's Blessing anymore. Still playing it here. So yeah, no City's Blessing, but I guess we'll still attack, since we're not chum blocking. And then hope to top deck Itali. Alright. Don't think it matters which one we block. Horncrest, alright. Itali would still help. Vampire Revenants. Does it give us a City's Blessing? I hope it does. It sure does. Alright. Still have a chance here. Uh-oh. I take that back. Yeah, that's a problem. And we have to trade here, or we have to chum block. I guess we'll trade. Alright, well. We had a good run. So we can suicide attack the Scoundrel, hope they block with the Spineback, kill it. But then we're still chum blocking with the Revenant. So I guess we instead just say go, make some chum blocks and trades with the Bombard. Sure. Attack with everyone. So we can block, chum block here, chum block there. Let damage happen. We're gonna make a token. Sure. Damage. End of turn, kill that. But even a tally is not going to be good enough here. Ah, right on time. Alright, GG's. Needed a tally a couple turns sooner. But we're still gonna assert dominance. Yeah, if we drew a tally like 2 turns sooner, or if they didn't draw the spine back, like spine back was gonna kill us if they got enough time, they could just make infinity dinosaur tokens, so even Italy might not have been good enough versus the spine back there. Captain Italy going down with the ship like a true captain. Alright, 5-1, still way above expectations, so can't really complain. Alright, reasonable opening hand with Italy in it, so if we draw Pirate's Prize, we'll be in business. 3 drops would be nice here. Don't have many 2 drops we can hope to draw, so it's 3 drops we have to hope for. Alright, there's a 3 drop. Skullduggery could be okay, but black green's not gonna have a ton of 1 toughness stuff. Yeah, mythic draft opponents. Yeah, let's see what they've got. So, what's our plan here? Twilight Prophet's pretty good. So I guess we'll attack with the Tormentor. See if they block. They probably won't. Alright, they still call our bluff. So we'll Skullduggery. This and that, and then play a Swaggering Corsair. Alright. That worked out. New Horizons. They might have wanted to tap their mana differently there, but I'll take it. Is this a shame concede because they tapped their mana wrong? Who knows? Well, so far for Mythic. Alright. Reasonable opening hand. The Firebrands seem to be pretty good in this deck so far. And our opponents seem to be playing some slower decks. So the Firebrand's been going uncontested pretty often. Alright, River Sneak, that's fine. I'll happily trade the Firebrand for a raid trigger here. Haven't seen the Blind Keeper in action yet. Opponent takes it. So next turn we can go Blind Keeper plus Fire Cannon Blast. Or Bombard. Alright, that's a nice one. Gets to draw a card. Bravado's a nice one too. So no real reason to kill the Spy. Just gets rid of a 2-2, which I guess is okay, but we get to keep a Bombard end of turn here, which I prefer. And getting in 1 extra damage with the Firebrand's probably not worth it, wasting a removal spell. So let's just get in with the Corsair. Play Blind Keeper, keep a Bombard. Go from there. And it's a bit too early for the Wombo Combo Bravado. Can always decide to sack Firebrand on River Sneak. Not sure though. Keeping the Firebrand around could be useful. That's okay. So do we kill the River Sneak now? I guess we do. And then we could bombard the Stormfleet Spy end of turn here. Don't hit it. Could have also killed the Guardian in case we drew into our 1 mana 2/1/1 edit attacks, since that trades for this while it gets stonewalled by the Guardian. But I think overall it makes more sense to keep the Guardian alive. Vampire Revenant's a good draw too. And yeah, another well-timed hit from the Swaggering Corsair with Bravado could kill them. Alright. Guardian attacks, that's a good sign. So yeah, they probably have like a Mark of the Vampire that they're gonna try and set up. Can we kill them here? Probably. If we attack with everyone, they probably block Blightkeeper and then they're dead. If they smell some fishiness, then they're blocking with Assault of the Rapids. But then we don't have to worry about Mark of the Vampire anymore, so I think we send everyone here. Alright, blocks the Revenant, that's fine too. So now we can deal 9 total. Put them to 1, it's probably good enough. Keep land in hand for Pirate's Pillage. So their opponent at 1 versus Blightkeeper. Can they find a flyer? They can. Alright. I guess this works too. Well, our steaming pile of pirates got the job done here. 7-1, not bad. Alright, let's crack some packs. And a nice Darfleet Neckbreaker as a souvenir. Slaughterstrong. That's an interesting sweeper that never really got to see a ton of play in Standard. I wonder if it'll ever make a comeback. Got a Slaughter the Strong for the collection now. I don't think we had one already. And is the Talpa. Nice Curve Topper. Pack one, pick one. Probably Zetalpa. Why not? But anyways, that's gonna be it for today. Want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for being part of the channel, and you can become a patron yourself today and decide the topic of future videos over at patreon.com/LegenVD.